Hey, this is Greg with PNW Enduro. Today I'm going to do a review on the Sherco 300SE Factory Edition. I've got about 150 hours on this bike now, so this is a long-term review. Okay, let's get right into it. First off, I'll go over the changes I've made to this bike. First off, I run the Smart Carb 2. I ride a lot of different elevations and temperatures, and I don't want to be jetting all the time, so this is simple. I ride from sea level to over 10,000 feet and I don't have to adjust anything, and I get a lot better fuel economy. So the Smart Carb 2 is a key mod for me on this bike, probably the biggest mod I've done. Tugger Straps. Here, these are from Trailbound. Really good product. I used to have the cheap Tugger brand on and I didn't like them at all, but these are really nice, easy to grab, and well made from Trailbound. So a gummy tire on the rear, I have a VE33S, which is the tire I run most of the time, and I've got a soft nitro mousse in there. And on the front, it's the IRC VX30. This is by far the best front tire I've run, and I've tried a whole bunch, and now this is just what I'm sticking with. And on the front, I have a mousse as well, which is the SRT brand mousse. And this is the first time I tried this mousse, and I'm actually really impressed with this SRT mousse. So much so that I might try it on the rear, but I'm just concerned with it being maybe a little too hard on the rear because they don't make a soft option. So if you use an SRT mousse on the rear, let me know in the comments how it is. Is it soft enough? Is it good traction? Let me know. So Fmf Turbine Core 2.1. This was the only thing on this bike that was hard to get. It took me 9 months to get this spark arrestor pipe, but that is the thing with a lot of bikes these days. It's just hard to get these FMF parts. Everything else though was easy to get on the shelf or only a couple days away. My Rad Guards are from Bulletproof Designs. I would give them just an okay rating. They're a real hassle to install on this bike in particular, and the protection isn't really full protection. As you can see, I've dented the rad a little bit here, so probably a Rad Guard that wraps around would be a little bit better. If you buy a Sherco, the first thing you need to do is replace the chain guide. This one is from AXP Racing. I ran the stock one and it lasted about 2 hours and it broke on the trail, so that was kind of a hassle. So if you get a Sherco, just replace that right away because the stock ones are junk. And I also have Bulletproof Designs tab protector, which protects your swing arm tab, but it also protects this bolt. You can see how much it gets worn down here, and without this I'm always shearing those bolts. So not too much money and a good protection piece to have there. Full wrap guards. These are the ones from Tusk that you get at Rocky Mountain. Inexpensive. They work really well. I haven't bent them. They stay on the bars. They don't twist. So I like to run full wraps. I know some people don't like them, but for where I ride in the woods, it's kind of a necessity because I don't like broken fingers. Handlebars. I run the Astra off-road handlebars. These ones are new, actually. I've just got one ride on them. They are the Gemini series. I like them quite a bit. So these are the Chris Birch Astra models that I have been running since I got the bike, and I'm just trying something a little bit different. All these Astra handlebars are a low-rise handlebar, and the purpose of that is to put you in a better riding attack position. Once the bars go lower, your elbows naturally go up, which is good riding posture. And the sweep on these is designed to put pressure evenly across your hand, and that will lead to less fatigue and your wrist is in a more natural position. You notice my grips. These are the stock grips at 150 hours, and they're pretty evenly worn. On regular handlebars, I would always wear right here, so that's where all the pressure was going on my hand. Now with these Astra bars, it's pressure evenly across the hand, less fatigue. Smart design. So for rotor guards, I have the Tusk rear rotor guard. It's worked well for me. It's a little bit bent, but it saves my rotor because I like to ride in the rocks quite a bit. And on the front, I have the Enduro Engineering one. No particular reason why I got this one over the Bulletproof. It's just what I happened to buy at the time. They're both good brands. Fmf gnarly pipe. This is the second pipe I smashed up the other pipe a few times and I had it repaired. And then when I was on a trip, I had to get a new pipe because the pipe had to come off and the old one wouldn't go back on. So now, once this one gets dented enough, I'll get them both fixed and I'll have a backup pipe. One thing that's a little bit of a weak point on the Sherco is the spring for your brake pedal. It breaks off really easily. So you can buy a piece, or I just got a little spring that I put in here, and that does the same kind of thing, but it's not going to break off like that spring there. So these bikes do come with an AXP Racing skid plate, but right away I changed it out for the full protection skid plate with the linkage guard. The skid plate's also a little bit thicker. So you can see how well this is holding up after 150 hours of abuse in the rocks. It's got some scratches, but really good skid plate. I've used these on several bikes and I think AXP are a really good product. So I replaced the chain and the rear sprocket, I think around 60 hours. And this chain is still holding up well, so is the sprocket. The front sprocket though, you can see it's got a bit of wear on it. Probably time to change it, but that is 150 hours on that sprocket. That is incredible to last that long, and it's still not too bad. Probably due for a change, so I've got one in the garage. So one thing that's cool on the Shercos is the quick release seat. Just twist that button, pull the seat off. You got your air filter in there. And you got some room for some storage here. I keep a toe strap. Some people keep screwdrivers or a couple little tools in there. Nice easy access, but this air filter is kind of a pain to take in and out. It doesn't really fit in there. You gotta kind of twist it and push it in, and then attaching it can be a little bit finicky at times. So that would be something, be nice to see Sherco improve on a little bit. I did replace the front fender and everything else is stock, so 150 plus hours. You can see I've stitched these up a couple times, just cosmetic. The plastics I don't think are a weak point, but they're still not as durable as the KTM plastics. This seam right here, it's easy to crack the plastics on that little join. One thing that really annoys me is they don't line up very well here, and that is still the case on 2022 and 23. Hopefully 24, this bike may be going to see a major redesign. Hopefully they can fix that, but that's just annoying to have a very expensive bike and the fitment just isn't quite there on this. So full KYB suspension front and back. I've had it serviced twice. I just had the oils and seals done a couple rides ago, but otherwise it's stock. I haven't done any valving. The forks have an upgraded free piston. They come with a plastic free piston. It's been upgraded to the aluminum one. It's not really a performance upgrade, it's more just a durability upgrade. So I actually was planning to do a review at 100 hours and I didn't get around to it. So here we are at 150, but I'm kind of glad I didn't do it then, because there's a key thing I wanted to talk about that happened. At 106 hours, I was down in Utah riding and coming down a hill, went to shift out of second gear up to third, and this was just all free play. So what actually happened is the shift shaft inside the motor had broken, so I was stuck in second gear and had to ride out in second, and luckily I was able to get my bike fixed, and I only lost 1 day of riding on that trip, so that was nice. But that is the only major breakdown that this bike has had, the only breakdown at all, really. So as far as the performance of this bike, I am really happy with the Sherco. It is a hard enduro machine. This bike really excels in the more technical terrain, but it's fun to ride anywhere. I just really think the bike fits me really well. It has a much different feel from a KTM. I had 3 KTMs in a row before the Sherco, and they are different. They do take some getting used to. They feel a little bit more cramped, I guess would be the description, but I'm not that tall, so a little bit of a smaller feeling bike is a good thing. Another thing that's a bit odd is the foot pegs are totally flat. That sometimes can take a bit of getting used to. I don't mind it so much, but I do find that my feet will fall off more often than, like, say, a KTM bike that has the foot pegs cambered up a little bit. Another minor thing I'd like to see Sherco do is just put some lock-on grips
It's pretty old school not to have lock-on grips these days. One thing, when you do change the grips to something else, you're going to need a different throttle cam. So the one you're probably going to want to buy is this one from ZRT, and that is because it's going to give you a similar throttle pull to the stock, because some of the other ones are really long throttle pull, which I don't like. You can see my hour meter is actually at 5.34, and that is because I broke this trip computer a little while ago, and try not to break those because they're really expensive, but it's something on a bike that I really like to have for maintenance purposes, and I just like to know how long my rides are. You can see the last ride was 58.1 kilometers. In case anyone is wondering, this is the premix that I use. It's Motul 710, and I switched to this stuff because it has a lower flash point. So the riding I do is more slow and technical. I'm not on the pipe a whole bunch. So oil with a lower flash point is a little bit better. This one kind of freaked me out when I first started using it because it's blue, and when you put it in your fuel, it doesn't really color the fuel, and I'm used to red gas, so I thought I was pouring straight gas into my bike the first time, but it's just a different color, and the stuff, no complaints so far. Really, that's about it. If you have any questions about this bike, leave them down in the comments, and I will try and get back to you on that. I would definitely buy another Sherco for sure. The 4-stroke is actually also a really good bike too, the 300SE 4-stroke. So Sherco's doing really well. When I bought this bike, there was only a couple around, and now it's pretty rare that I go for a ride and I don't run into another blue bike, another Sherco on the trails, which is nice to see. They're really taking off in this area because they are definitely a good quality, well-made bike. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.